Hello students, this is the last video for this chapter where we are discussing about the corrosion control methods. In previous three videos we have discussed what is corrosion, what are the types, what are the different methods which affects the rate of corrosion, and in this particular video we are discussing how to control the corrosion, and or you can say the methods of corrosion control. As you all know that corrosion cannot be stopped but it can be minimized. So we have various methods like material selection, proper designing. Instead of having crevices in the design, there should be no sharp edges. We can have the curves by using pure metal. We can, and using metal alloys. These are some methods which we can follow to control the rate of corrosion. But here we are discussing majorly two types of control methods, in which we first discuss about the cathodic protection, in which we will be studying about what is sacrificial anode method and what is impressed current, and the second is the surface coating. But in and metallic coating, surface coatings may organic surface coating like paint is not in your syllabus, so we are not going to discuss this. We will be concentrate only the metallic coatings, in which we will be discussing only one type of metallic coating, that is hot dipping, in which we will be studying what is galvanizing and tinning. Since metal cladding and electroplating is not in your syllabus, so we are not going to go in details of these two coatings. We will be concentrating here only. So let's start with the corrosion control methods. Now, what is cathodic protection? Now, cathodic protection, the principle involved in this method is to force the metal to be protected to behave like a cathode. Thereby corrosion does not occur. What is the principle? The principle is that the base metal which you have to protect will be behave like a cathode, so that corrosion doesn't occur on that particular metal, right? So for this we follow two methods, that is the sacrificial anode method and impressed current method. Let's first discuss about the sacrificial anode. Now, sacrificial anode, the word sacrifice means the one metal will sacrifice himself to protect the other, right? In this protection method, the metallic structure to be protected is connected by a wire. You can see in this picture, right? We have suppose we have to protect this, right? Then how this structure can be protected, or we suppose we have to protect the iron pipelines, then what method we will follow? So in what we will do, the metallic structure to be protected is connected by a wire to more anodic metal, so that all corrosion is concentrated at this more active metal, and the more active metal itself get corroded slowly, while the parent metal structure, that is cathode, is protected. The more active metal so employed is called sacrificial anode. The corroded sacrificial anode block is replaced by a fresh one when consumed completely. Metals commonly employed as a sacrificial anode are magnesium, zinc, aluminium, and their alloys. Important application of sacrificial anode method includes protection of buried pipelines. In this picture it is shown. Cables, underground cables, marine structures shown in this figure, ships, hulls, water tanks, pipes. Okay, so what you have understood this structure, suppose we have underground pipelines which is made up of iron basically. So what to, and you know iron has a basic nature to corrode very easily. So what we will do, we will connect this metal, that is iron, to more reactive metal. Suppose this is magnesium. So magnesium is above in the electrochemical series, more reactive, so this will behave like a anode in comparison to the iron. So who will sacrifice then? Who will corrode? Magnesium corrode, and this pipeline remain, or the iron pipeline remain protected. And when this whole metal is consumed, it is replaced by the fresh metal. So that is because this metal is corroding to sacrifice this structure. That is why the phenomena is known as sacrificial anode. The one anode is, this metal is sacrificed, which is an anode to protect this cathode, which is the iron pipes. So this is how the structures are protected and called as sacrificial anode method. Now second is your impressed current. Now in this method, or an impressed current is applied in opposite direction to nullify the corrosion currents and converts the corroding metal from anode to cathode. Usually the impressed current is derived from a direct source like battery or rectifier on AC line with the insoluble anode like graphite, high silica, iron, scrap iron, stainless steel or platinum. Usually a sufficient DC current is applied to an insoluble anode buried in the soil or immersed in the corroding medium and connected to a metallic structure to be protected. The anode is usually, a black fill composed of coke grease or gypsum, so as to increase the electrical contact with the surrounding soil. This type of cathodic protection has been applied to open water box coolers, water tanks, buried oil or water pipelines. Or water pipes. Condenser, transmission line, towers, marine piles, laid up ships. This kind of protective technique is particularly useful for large structure for long-term operation, and this is shown in this figure. So again, what is happening here? See, in simple language, this is iron, right? This is here it behave like a anode, and this will be cathode. So electron will go from this to this, right? But here we have arranged the DC source. So as it flows this direction, current flow will this direction. So current get nullify over here. So this is also protected. This is also protected. This is known as impressed current method. Basically, the drawback of previous method was this only, because we have to replace this metal again and again. So recently we use impressed current method instead of sacrificial. Now the second, we will be studying about the metallic coatings. We are not going to organic surfaces. Metallic coatings, we will be studying two major types, in which we will be studying about anodic coatings. In the anodic coating, we will be studying about galvanizing, and then cathodic, we will be studying about tinning, right? So basically, this galvanization and tinning is the example of anodic and cathodic coatings. Anodic coatings are produced from coating metals which are anodic to the base metal. Remember what I have said, that anodic coatings are produced from an coating metal which are anodic to the base metal. Means The base metal is always the cathode and the surface metal will be anode. For example, zinc, aluminium and cadmium on steel are anodic because their electrode potential are lower than that of the base iron. If any pores break or discontinuous occurs in such anodic coatings, a galvanic cell is formed between the coating metal and the exposed part of the base metal. In case of galvanized steel, zinc, the zinc is the coating metal, being anodic, is attacked, leaving the underlying cathodic metal unattacked. Galvanic cell is formed between zinc and the exposed iron. Zinc being anodic to iron dissolves anodically, whereas the iron being cathodic is protected. Thus, no attack of the iron occurs until practically all the zinc has first corroded in the vicinity of the exposed iron spot. So, zinc coating protect iron sacrificially, and this is sacrificial, right? Now, the second is your cathodic coatings. In cathodic coating are obtained by coating a more noble metal having higher electrode potential than the base metal. They protect the base metal because they have higher corrosion resistance than the base metal. Cathodic coating provides effective protection to the base metal only when they are completely continuous and free from pores, breaks or discontinuities. If such coatings are punctured, more corrosion damage can be done to the base metal than to the metal without it. For example, a tin coating on a sheet of iron provides protection only as long as the surface of the metal is completely covered. Since tin is lower than iron in electrochemical series, however, if the surface coating is punctured, the tin becomes the cathode, while the exposed iron, which is above tin in the electrochemical series, act as a anode. So, galvanic cell is set up and the intense localized attack at small exposed part occurs, resulting in a severe pitting and performation of base metal such as iron. Such combination of small anode and large cathode area is always very dangerous. So basically, what is the difference between the anodic and the cathodic coatings? Anodic coating protects the underlying base metal sacrificially, whether the cathodic coatings protects the underlying base metal due to its noble diameter and higher corrosion resistance. Now, the electrode potential of coating metal in anodic coating is lower than the base metal, whereas in cathodic coating, electrode potential of coating metal is higher than the base metal. Now, coating, for example, anodic coating is zinc on iron and cathodic coating is tin over iron, which is also known as galvanizing and tinning. Now, in this, let's study the hot dipping. So, hot dipping is used for producing a coating of low melting metals such as zinc, whose melting point is 419 degrees Celsius, and tin, that is 232 degrees Celsius, lead and aluminium, on iron, steel and copper, which have relatively higher melting points. The process in general consists of immersing the base metal in a bath of molten coating metal covered by a molten flux layer, which is known as zinc chloride, and the flux cleans the base metal and prevents the oxidation of the molten coating metal. For a good adhesion, The base metal surface must be very clean, otherwise it cannot be properly wetted by the molten metal. Two most widely applied hot dipping processes, galvanizing and tinning. Let's first see what is galvanizing. Galvanizing is a process of coating iron or steel sheets with a thin coat of zinc to prevent them from rusting. The process carries out, see this is the process. The iron or the steel article sheet pipe wire is first cleaned by pickling with dilute H2SO4 solution for 15 to 20 minutes at 60 to 90 degrees Celsius. This treatment also remove any scale, rust or the oxide layers and impurities present on the base metal. The article is then washed well and dried. It is then dipped in the bath of molten zinc, which is maintained at temperature 425 to 430 degrees Celsius. The surface of the bath is covered by a flask of ammonium chloride to prevent further oxidation or further the oxide formation. When the article is taken out, it is found to have been coated with thin layer of zinc. It is then passed through a pair of hot rollers. You can see here hot rollers. This process removes any excess of zinc produces a thin film of uniform thickness. Then it is annealed at temperature 650 degrees Celsius and finally cooled slowly, and this is how we obtain the galvanized sheet. Now it is widely used. Where it is used? It is widely used for the protection of iron from atmospheric corrosion in the form of roofing sheets, fences, pipes, nails, bolts, screw, buckets, tubes. It may be pointed here that zinc can dissolve in dilute acids to form highly toxic poisonous compound. Hence, galvanized utensils cannot be used for storing food stuffs, especially acidic ones. Remember this. This is a very important point. Galvanized utensil cannot be used for storing the food stuff. Now the next is tinning. Tinning is a coating of tin over the iron steel articles. The process consists in the first treatment steel sheet into dilute sulfuric acid, pickling, which is known as pickling, to remove the any oxide if it is there. After this, it is passes to the bath of zinc chloride flux. This helps the molten metal to adhere on the metal sheet. Next, this sheet is passed through a tank of molten tin, and finally through a series of rollers for the uniform surface, and then the palm oil. The palm oil protects the hot tin coated surface against oxidation. Always remember, what is the role of palm oil? It stops the further oxidation of the tin. The rollers remove the excess tin and produces a thin film of uniform thickness on the steel sheet. Now, where it is used, tin processes considerably resistance against atmospheric corrosion. Moreover, because of non-toxic nature of tin, tinning is widely used for coating steel, copper and brass sheets, used for manufacturing containers for storing food stuff. Remember, like ghee, oil, kerosene. So if you compare what is the difference between the galvanizing and tinning, then the basic difference is that galvanizing is a process of covering iron or steel with a thin coat of zinc to prevent it further rusting, whereas tinning is a process of covering steel with a thin coat of tin to prevent it from the further corrosion. Zinc protects the base metal. Zinc protects the iron sacrificially, whereas tin protects the base metal. iron from corrosion due to its noble nature and less electropositive than iron and higher corrosion resistance. The galvanized articles always protect the underlying iron, but if a small crack happens in the tinned articles, then the underlying metals destroy completely. Now uh, galvanized utensils or galvanized containers cannot be used for storing acidic foods, since zinc reacts with foods acids forming zinc compound, which is highly toxic or poisonous, whereas tin coated containers or utensils can be used for storing foodstuff. And since tin is non-toxic and protects the metal from corrosion and avoids any food poisoning. So basically the difference we have to remember that galvanizing and tinning, in both the process the base metal is iron only. In the first galvanizing case we are coating this with zinc, and in the second tinning we are coating it with the tin. Galvanized sheets cannot be used or containers cannot be used for storing food, whereas tinning can be used. So this is all about this chapter corrosion. The whole chapter is concluded into 4 parts. I request you all to please watch the all 4 parts in the starting, and then if you have any inquiries then please let me know. Thank you.